Hey guys, what's up, it's jjaaxxthelegend here, and today I'm here with another Minecraft Redstone tutorial. Now, in this Minecraft Redstone tutorial, I'm going to be showing you guys my 5 favorite super switches. Now, these are the ones behind me right here. We have a total of 5, ranging from the item drop to the torch, and everything in between. So there will be timestamps in the description down below if you want to skip to one if you're looking for a specific one. But if not, I'm going to be running through all of them, and then after I've done that, I'll show you how to build them. Let's start off with this switch directly behind us, the item drop switch. Now, it's basically what the name is. You have to drop an item on this certain block here. If I do that, my door will either open or close. Now, to do it, to close it from the inside, you can just drop it on this block, on a different block that we've assigned as well, and it'll do the same thing. So it's super secret both on the inside and the outside. Now let me explain how this works. If we hop down the bottom here, you can see a minecart and hopper under each of these blocks that we throw our items onto. Now this feeds it into a hopper system. This hopper system then leads it over to this chest, but before it goes into this chest, the comparator goes, oh, there's an item in there, and activates our T flip-flop hopper dropper system. This then sends out a current, activates our redstone torches or deactivates them, and then activates our door. So it has multiple parts to it, and I'll be showing you guys how to build that later on, like I said earlier. Now onto the next part, next one actually, the secret button door. So this door is incredibly simple. All you need to do is place your button down, press it, and then break it. So it is a secret door, and you can just press it down. But the best part is you can break your button, then walk in, so you don't have a button just lying around. Then you have a button on the inside to close it behind you. So this just uses a T flip-flop system that is powered by your button, and then powers your door. Now, another good thing about this door, if you place the button here, it won't work. If you place it over here, it won't work. So it has to be directly on this block here for it to all activate and work. Now on to the next one. Okay, for our next switch, we're going to need some sort of hoe to activate it. Now, this is my favorite switch out of all of them, just because of how weird it is actually. The activation system of this is very interesting. So let's have a look at it. So if I hoe this land here, right, it'll be broken by this block, and then my door will activate. This allows me to walk straight through and close it by pressing this button right here. Just like that. So this is a super awesome door. Now I'm going to explain to you how it works. So let's start with this activation system here. So essentially, to turn the door on, we have a redstone torch powering a dirt block which powers a repeater, which then goes into another redstone torch, so it's deactivated. But when we hoe this land, essentially we're just taking the block away, because hoed land does not count as a full block, therefore it will not transmit redstone current. So it's essentially just breaking it. And you can see my door activates like that. Once it is activated, this repeater will destroy the hoed land, which will turn it back into a normal block of dirt, which will then do that. But as well as that, this redstone torch will power this repeater here, which will then power our dropper system, which will then power our door. So it's a reasonably simple concept of essentially removing a block by hoeing it and turning it into a non-full block, so a block that doesn't transmit redstone current like glass or a slab, which then activates the rest of our system. Now on to the next switch. So this one is incredibly simple. This has no redstoning at all and uses a reasonably new Minecraft mechanic, a part of the aquatic update. So if we walk over to our beautiful pot plant here, stand right here, and flick the trapdoor on, you can see we go into this sort of prone mode where we're sort of swimming. Then we can swim straight through, close the door behind us, and get into our secret base. Now to get out, you just walk up to this trapdoor and swim through, open this, and then close it, just like that. So it's super simple and super easy and resource efficient to build. And you can put as many of these as you want in your build because they are really hard to spot. Because even if you have fancy graphics on, you can't really see that there's some sort of door there. Now it's time to move over to our next switch, which is a redstone torch key switch. So let's grab out a redstone torch and try this out. So all we have to do is place our redstone torch on this block here. The redstone torch will break, we can pick it up and then walk back through our door. We just have to press this button to again close it. So let's have a look at that again. Place a redstone torch here, so they can get broken. We can pick that up, walk through our door, and press this button to close it again. Now let's have a look at the redstoning. The redstoning behind this is slightly more complex, as in it uses more parts, but it isn't actually that hard to build still. So what we have here is the game mechanic of when a redstone torch gets placed here, it'll transmit a current into the block, which will then power this piston down here. And what that piston will do, that piston will send out this regular piston will send out a signal to this observer, which will power this repeater, which then will go all the way down and power this piston here, which will break the block, which will break the redstone torch by pulling it down. And then what else? There's another thing that repeater is doing. It is powering our T flip-flop, which we've used in almost all of these except for this very simple one here, which will then go straight and power into our door. Now to turn this one off, we are simply bringing this redstone back and powering our T flip-flop again. So let's have a look at that. Just like this. Okay, so you've now seen all of our switches and our doors, and it's time to get on to the tutorials. We're going to start by listing the items for this sort of item drop door or switch. Here they are on your screen. Okay, once you've done that, it's time to start building. Okay, so dig out a 6x6 hole that is 5 deep. So it looks like that. Then go to one of the sides you want your door to be on and your switch to be on. Place a red sand or any sort of block on the 2 middle blocks, like this, to mark that as your front side. So when I say go around to the front side and then count 3 in, you know where to go. Now, grab out your chests, your minecart with hoppers, your rails, your hoppers, and your sort of ground block. Now this could be dirt, grass, sandstone, wherever you're building, it will change. Then go to your leftmost side from your front where we mark the blocks and count 3 to the right. 1, 2, 3. Now that we've done that, count 2 in with sandstone blocks like this. Now the second block here will be the block you throw your items on. Now go beneath that, like this, and place a block with a hopper on it. Just like this. And then break that, place a rail on top of that hopper by holding shift. Now you'll need to hold shift because otherwise you'll open it like that. Place a rail and then place a minecart with hopper on top of that. So when you throw an item onto the block, it'll go through all of this and end up in this hopper here. Okay, so now dropping back into your hole from the front side, place a block directly underneath this hopper on the ground, and then 1 block diagonally up right from that. It should look like that, so a diagonal piece up to the right. Then place a hopper going into that block like this. And then place a middle block here between these 2 diagonal blocks and break those 2 diagonal blocks and leaving this one right there. Then place a hopper going into that block like this and then a trap chest or any sort of chest underneath it. So this will be the location where all of your items get put after you've thrown it in. So you'll want to create some sort of ladder to get down. Now rotate to the back side of our 6x6 square and count 4 blocks with hoppers coming from this hopper right here that is going into the chest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like that. So it should go to the very end of our hole. Then go one up with another hopper, like this, going back down into that very last one, with some rails on top, and a minecart with hopper. So essentially repeating this same system here, and then place a block on top of that. That'll be your way to get out from the inside of your base. Now come down to this chest on the right side and place a magenta concrete block or your scaffolding block. Directly on top of that, place your redstone comparator. Now this redstone comparator should be facing so the back side is touching this hopper here, and that this pointy dot here is facing the wall. And this pointy dot thing should not be turned on like that, it should be turned off. Now place a dropper going directly into the front, so not going directly, facing the front, so that this comparator is going directly into it, like this. Then place another dropper going down, like this, next to it. Once you've done this, place another dropper going back up into this original dropper here. So I'll explain that a bit more after we've finished it. Like this. And then a hopper going into that dropper that's directly underneath this one right here that is going down. So let me break out a bit more space so I can explain to you how this works. Okay, so what's going to happen is this dropper is facing to that dropper there. That dropper is facing down into that hopper is facing into that dropper, and that dropper is facing into that dropper right there. If you can see my little crosshair following that. Now that we're out of that area, place a sandstone or any sort of block or thing into that hopper there, and only one of them, and then that should go into the dropper right there. Now grab out your redstone comparator and place it coming out of this dropper that there's a block in, or any sort of item, and it should instantly be turned on like that, but this little dot should be turned off. Now place a magenta concrete directly in front of that, the redstone torch, and another block and a redstone torch. Repeat this pattern 2 more times, so block, redstone torch, block, redstone torch. Now place one final block. Then directly behind that redstone torch, so on the back side here, place 6 blocks going to your left. So 6 blocks going to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that goes to the very end of our hole, and then extend that one further out. Once you've done that, place redstone on 1, 2, 3 blocks, then, 2 blocks, and then a repeater. Then place redstone dust, another repeater, and set this to 2 ticks delay, then another 2 redstone dust, like this. Now it's time to add in some pistons. Come down below here and place pistons here and here. They should instantly be extended, make sure they're sticky, and place them directly below that as well. Just like this. Then place 2 more pistons here and here. These ones should also extend. Now place some sandstone on the faces of those pistons that we just placed, and that should be where your wall is. So your wall would be going straight across there. So let me just quickly build this wall and fill in this floor. So now if we throw our block onto where we've set it, which is one off there, you can see our door will open and we'll be able to walk through, and then we'll also be able to close it from the inside. Let's head outside. Okay, so now fully know how to build this switch and door. But I'd also like to point out, I said this earlier, but you need to make sure you remember to always put a ladder going down on one of these edges to get to this chest here, because that's where all of your blocks that you've thrown on your hole will end up. So if you ever do throw something there that's slightly more valuable, you'll always be able to get it. Okay, on to the next switch and door. So we are on to our next switch, this button switch here. So the materials you'll need for this build will appear on your screen now. So not too many, and make sure to grab all of those. Okay, so now that you've got those materials, you'll want to dig out a 4x6 hole that is 4 deep. So the shorter side, the 4 side, should be facing towards you and be the front side. Now we want to mark this side with some sort of block that we'll be able to identify later in this video. I'm going to use 2 pieces of red sand. Now grab out your redstone repeater, your redstone dust, your scaffolding blocks, so like some dirt or something, and also your floor block, so I'm using sandstone. Now go to the very most left side of your front and place 2 sort of floor blocks going inwards. Then directly under that second block, place 2 scaffolding blocks and break the first one you placed, so this one right here. Now directly on top of this block here, place a piece of redstone dust. And then coming diagonally down to the right, place a scaffolding block with a repeater on it coming out of this block here. So now if you want to test it, you can place a button on this block right here and the repeater will be activated, and so will be the redstone dust. Now grab out your droppers, your hoppers, and your comparators. Start by coming down with your dropper and placing one coming out of this repeater going to the right. Then on the face of that dropper, place another dropper going down and facing down, like this. Once you have done that, skip this block here and go over to the next one here. Place a dropper facing up into this original dropper we placed. Now place a hopper going into that dropper that we just placed them, like this. So we'll create a full cycle. I'll show you how it is. So the one that the repeater goes into should be facing to this side. Then that one will be facing down. The hopper will be facing there, and that one will be facing upwards, like that. Now that you've done that, throw any sort of item, it can be anything, into this hopper, just one of them. Now place a redstone comparator coming out of this dropper here, the one that's going up. And this should instantly be activated by the item that is in there. Now place a block directly in front of this comparator here with a redstone torch on top of it, and then do that again. Now complete this another 2 times. 1, 2. Except on that very last one, don't include that redstone torch there. Now grab out a few more blocks, and on the back side of this block here, so that's the front side, so that's the back side, place another 6 blocks going to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Place redstone on all of these blocks. We'll replace the ones with the repeaters shortly. Now grab out your repeaters. And we're going to place those in now. So we want to count 2 blocks from this corner here, 1, 2, and place a repeater. Then count 1 block and then place another repeater. Now this second repeater here will be on 2 ticks delay, so that is 1 click. Now extend this whole sort of snake of redstone out one, so to the forward, so we create a U shape, and place another piece of redstone dust. Now we're on to the exciting bit, adding in the pistons. So we're going to need our sticky pistons. We're going to need 6 of these. We want to place 4 onto these blocks here, these 2 end blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 more here. 1, 2. So these 2 should be facing forward. They should be under the repeater. And these 4 should be facing towards our redstone torch tower, and they should be under this redstone here. Now you want to add in your wall block into these, in between these pistons here. And you can now activate your system by placing a button on the designated button block, which is this one right here, with the redstone underneath it. Just like that. So now it's time to work on the button in the inside. To do this, grab out some more magenta concrete or your scaffolding block and some more redstone, and count 1, 2, 3, 4 more blocks in, and place redstone on all of those. Then on the very last block, the 4th block that we placed, place a block on top of that and another button. So now we have our fully working switch and a door. Let me quickly put in the wall and the floor so you can see it in like its full state. Okay, so I've just quickly whipped around and put a wall in so you can see that it's completely flush. And I can now press my button, break it, walk inside, press this button, and close the door behind me. And no one will ever know it was there. So now it's time to move on to the next door and switch. Okay, so the next switch and door we're going to be doing is the Hoe Door, which like I said earlier is my personal favorite, and the resources you'll need for it will appear on your screen now. Now you don't need many, but remember you will always need a hoe to activate this door, which isn't too annoying because you can always make one out of wood. Once you have all of those materials, it's time to dig out a hole. You'll need to dig out a hole that is a 2x6 hole that is only 2 deep. So this is very tiny because there's not too much redstone underground. Okay, for this next part, you're going to need some dirt. Now, I definitely suggest building this in a place where it's natural to have some sort of dirt block that hasn't been hoed. Maybe in a farm area, even if you're building it in a desert, or you can just build it in a plains, because that works as well. Okay, so we're going to need our dirt, our redstone torches, our building blocks, and I'm using magenta concrete, redstone repeaters, redstone dust, a hoe to do a bit of testing, so this can be any sort of hoe, and a sticky piston. Start by going onto the right side of your 2x6 hole, that is 2 deep, and placing a block. Now directly on the face of that block, place a redstone torch that is facing the back. Then on top of that, place a piece of dirt that shouldn't be hoed. Now walk around to the back and place a magenta concrete block or a building block there and there. So you sort of have this line. Then place a repeater, which should be instantly turned on, going into a piece of redstone dust. Then diagonally up one from this block here, place another block so the redstone dust is going into it. Now place a redstone torch on top of that, so it should instantly be turned off. Now to test that you've built all of this correctly, hoe the dirt and you should see the torch turns on, and when you jump on it and turn it into normal dirt, it should turn back off, which it does. Now it's time to put in our piston. To put in our sticky piston, place it against this torch here, and then a block on it. So this will have to place against the wall. But quite a few of the others don't necessarily have to be placed against a wall. So you can now see when I hoe this land, it'll instantly be broken. Just like that. Now we need to grab out a repeater, our dropper, and our hopper. Forgot to grab that out. Start by coming here and grabbing out another building block and placing it like so, with a repeater coming out of the redstone torch. Now we need to grab out our droppers. Okay, so the first dropper we want to place will be directly in front of this repeater, going to the right again, like this. Then place one directly next to that, going upwards. Place a block on top of that, the top of this dropper here. And then, on the edge of that block, place a dropper going down, like that. Now once you've done that, break this block and place a hopper going into this dropper here that we just placed that is going down. So the loop should be, this one that the repeater is going into goes into that one. This one here goes up into the hopper, and this hopper goes back into there, and it completes its full cycle. Now place any sort of block into this hopper, and just chuck it in there like that. Now one of these, don't put multiple because otherwise the system won't work, just one. Now it's time to grab out a comparator and just hook it up to our actual door. Start by placing a block directly behind this dropper here that is this dropper here. The dropper that the hopper is going into. Then place a comparator coming out of that dropper going into a block, and that comparator should instantly be turned on if you've done everything correctly. Then place a redstone torch on top of that block, which should be turned off because this comparator is turned on, and then place a magenta concrete block on top of that. Once you've done that, place one more magenta concrete going towards the front, and then two more, one diagonally down, going towards the front again. Place redstone on all of these except for this very edge corner one here. We'll place a repeater on 1 tick delay, so no clicks. Now place another 2 magenta blocks going to your left like this, so you make a corner shape with redstone dust on all of those. Then place 2 more magenta concrete going to your left again, but this is just going straight to your left, and 1 coming out to the front. Now place a redstone repeater on this block here, facing to these 2 corner blocks on 1 tick delay, 2 ticks delay, so 1 click, and then place 2 pieces of redstone dust. Now grab out your pistons and place 4 under these 2 blocks here, 1, 2, 3, 4, that are facing to your right, and then place 2 more here that are facing forwards that should be under this repeater. So now place in your wall block here, so when you hoe this piece of land, your door should open and close, which it does. So now let's hook up the inside button. Okay, to hook up the button, all you need to do is place a button on this dropper here, and then you can press it. Like that. So now you can fill in your area and hoe away your door, and you'll be able to open it and close it. Just like this, so let's go and have a look at it. I like to point out that sometimes you do have to press your button twice, but that's just because of the nature of the T flip-flop. So, now let me exit here and put the wall in so you can see it as a actual sort of door and switch. Okay, so I've now done that as a wall and filled in the floor, and you can see it's reasonably natural having just a wall here with some dirt in front of it, and you could even like sort of decorate this with some flowers but leave a block empty. Because that block, when we hoe that, our door will open, we'll be able to walk in, press our button, press it twice actually, to close it, and then boom, it's now fully secretive and no one will be able to get into our base. Now you know how to build that switch and door, it's time to move on to the next one, which is this super simple little sort of sort of fern type door thing. Okay, for this topiary door, I got the name of it this time. You are going to need these materials on your screen. Now you can substitute these leaves out with anything you want, because it's mainly the trapdoor bit, so you can even like put some sort of groovy texture here with like some note blocks or something there, make it a speaker. It's really up to you. So those are your choice. But let's get on to the tutorial part. Okay, we're not going to have to dig out any of this part, but I definitely suggest starting with a wall that is a few blocks high. I'm going to make mine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 high. Then you want to place your jungle leaves in as high as you want them to go, or any sort of leaf or any block. I'll make it like that. Then around this bottom layer of leaves, place your trapdoors so they fold up. So you have to place them on the top of the block and then shut them. Otherwise, if they fold down, it doesn't really work. It's like that. Gotta fix that one now. So now you want to break this leaf block here and break the block behind it. So when you walk here and flick the trapdoor up, you'll start swimming and you'll be able to get through. Now on this other side, we're going to do the same thing, but instead of placing it on the top of this block here, we're going to place it on the bottom of the block on top of that and close it. So we can easily do this and we'll go get right through. So that is all you have to do to build this door, so it's super simple. So we go from simple to slightly more, well, a bit more complex in this redstone torch, switch and door. So the materials you'll need for this one it's a bit more than the others, but it is definitely worth it because this is such a cool redstone key door. Okay, once you've got all of those materials, you need to dig out a hole. Okay, you're going to need a 5x7 hole that is 4 deep, and you want to grab out your 2 types of pistons, your redstone torch, your building blocks, your observers, your repeaters, your redstone dust, and your floor block. Come over to your 4 long side, which is going to be your front, and mark that with some sort of block. Then go to the left of that side and place 1 block in with a floor block, and then place your wall block 1 diagonally up, making sure you don't keep the corner there, so you destroy that. Then place a regular piston on that block right there, facing down. So when you place a redstone torch here, it will activate the piston. Now that you've done that, place an observer coming out of that piston, so the redstone dot is facing towards the opposite 5 long side. So when you place this again, the redstone torch, you can see that the little red dot there flashes for a bit. Now diagonally down from that observer, place a piece of magenta concrete with a redstone repeater on it so that it's coming out of this observer. Place this repeater onto 4 ticks, so that is 3 clicks. Now place a piece of magenta concrete or your building blocks directly in front of that repeater there, and 1 diagonally below it like this. Place a piece of redstone dust on the building block diagonally below the redstone repeater now. And then place another one diagonally below that, but instead of going that way, towards the back, come back towards the front with it. Place a repeater on that on 1 tick delay, so no clicks. So if we place a redstone torch here, you can see the pulse transfers fully down to that repeater there. So now place a block directly in front of that repeater with a redstone torch on it. And then place a sticky piston in front of that redstone torch and it should instantly extend. So you now have the full system that activates and breaks the torch. So this is the part of the system that can be hooked up to any sort of door. Now it's time to hook it up to our jeb door. Okay, for the next part, you want to keep in your inventory your building blocks, your redstone dust, and your redstone repeaters, but you also want to add in a redstone comparator, some droppers, and some hoppers. Start by adding 1 more magenta concrete or building block right here next to this redstone. Like this. Then place a piece of redstone dust on top of that block. Now place a dropper facing towards from the front towards the right side like this. Then place a dropper in front of that dropper facing upwards. Skip that block by placing a block on top of that dropper, then place another dropper in this empty spot here going down. Now break that block there and place a hopper going directly into the dropper that we just placed. So this dropper is going into that one's going into that one, this one's going into this one, and this one's going back into this one. So if we place an item in here, just like this, it should instantly go into the dropper that is facing down. Now you want to keep this item in this dropper, you only want one of these items though, not multiple in there. Oh, I also forgot to say that you will also need to put one redstone torch in your hotbar. Now come to the back of this T flip-flop system that we just created, and on this dropper here, our first dropper that we placed, place another block. Now place a comparator coming out of this top dropper here, that should instantly be turned on. Now directly in front of this comparator, place a block with a redstone torch on it, and then another block on top of that, so the redstone torch should be turned off, and should look like this. Now place another 3 blocks going to the left from here, to the right, 1, 2, 3, and then another 3 going forward, 1, 2, 3, like this, so we have a corner shape, and place redstone on all of those blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so we should use 7 pieces of redstone there. Now from this block here, go 3 out to the right and 2 out to the left, so 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, just like this. Then place 1 forward, like this, on both sides. Now place 1 repeater a block before this turn here, on both sides, and put these both on 2 ticks delay, so that is 1 click. Now place redstone on top of all of these blocks. Okay, so we have now officially completed most of the redstone except for the button from the inside, so now it's time to actually add in our door. So we need to grab out our sticky pistons and our wall or door blocks. So I'm going to be using sandstone. Start by placing 4 sticky pistons on both sides, this is going to be symmetrical, underneath these 2 corner blocks here. 1, 2, and then you'll also want to place 2 below that, so you have a 2x2 square of sticky pistons. Repeat this on the other side. Once you've done that, directly under the 2 repeaters, place 2 more sticky pistons. Now in the corner that they just created, place your 2 wall blocks. Just like this. So you now have your fully working door. It's time to turn it on and make sure it works. Again, just remember, place a redstone torch on this block here, and you can see our door works and extends out fully to our wall, which is right here. Now let's open that and do the redstoning to activate and deactivate the door from the inside. This redstoning is incredibly simple. All we have to do is come around to this block here with this redstone on it, which is next to the T flip-flop, and come around to the back and place 1 diagonally down. Like this, and place a repeater on that going into the block. Then place another block behind that, and then 3 more blocks coming to the right side of the front. That's the right side? Yep. Then place redstone dust on all of those blocks. Then place a block on top of that with a button on it. Any sort of button. So when you press that, your door should open and close. So let me quickly add in all the walls and the door, and also cover up that 1 piece of magenta block which we had to mark out front, so you can see it in a sort of real world situation. Okay, so I've now placed in the wall, and you can see if it looks reasonably natural, especially if this was in some sort of base. Now if I come over here and place my redstone torch, the door still fully works, and I can walk in, press my button, I can grab my diamonds and stuff and hang out in my secret base, and then when it's time to leave, I can press my button again and head on out. So, now that you've done that, and you've learned how to do all of the other switches and doors, that is going to be the end of this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, comment, and remember to subscribe if you're new. I'd really appreciate the support if you hit that big red subscribe button. And I will see you guys later. Peace. And remember, stay carbonated.